Hi, Evelina. Let's take a look at what you wrote us today. Father staying home, mother's working. Let's say mother. No, you didn't say mothers. I said mothers. Women were always seen as the main caretakers in the traditional family model. Yet in the last few years, this stereotypical approach has been challenged. More and more fathers are deciding to look after their children, while mothers are becoming the breadwinners. Societal experts have debated whether this is a positive phenomenon or not. Personally, I strongly agree that the advantages outweigh the drawbacks. In this essay, I will elaborate on the matter using examples from Polish research and Norwegian studies to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, it's very good. I have one concern. It might sound like a detail, but once I explain it to you, maybe you'll get it. So this was like what, 7 lines long? And then look at your body paragraph. Your body paragraph is less than that. So when I was reading this, I thought it was very nice, but I also felt it was very extended and you didn't really need to. The introduction essentially needs to have just very few elements to it. It needs to rephrase the topic and then it needs to state your position. That's really it. And the one thing that's really important in terms of your score for IELTS is your position. So all of this for me might have been, how can I say this? It might have been a better idea to spend less time developing such a full introduction and more time on your body paragraph. Okay. So, that's the first thing. It felt a little long. Now, this is what are the reasons and is it positive or negative? So, what did you say? You said that it's okay. You said that it's positive. So, this is a two-question essay. They want to know the reasons for this shift and then they want to know if it's good or bad. Okay? So, that's what you're supposed to be talking about. Um, let's see. So, let's go back to this, okay? Um, I'm trying to see where we could have maybe economized a little. I want to read it one more time. Women were always seen as the main caretakers in the traditional family model, yet in the last few years, the stereotypical approach has been challenged. Mm, let's see. Maybe you could have left this out. Let me think about it for a second. So, okay, yet in the last few years, the stereotypical approach has been challenged. Okay. With more fathers looking after their children while mothers are becoming the breadwinners. Full stop. Then you could have said here, maybe you could have left out this thing about societal experts. Then you could have said, personally, I believe there are a variety of reasons behind this change, yet the advantages outweigh the drawbacks. And then that's enough. Now, I know that we do often say that you should say that you're going to use examples, but because this was really long already, I would be okay with you not doing that. Okay? So those are some of the changes I would make here. Now I want to see what you wrote in your body. Remember, you're supposed to talk about what the reasons are, and then is it positive or negative? So let's see if you did that. On the one hand, there is a conventional assumption that, I'm sorry, there's a conventional assumption as only a man should, no, that's wrong. Let's try it again. There is a conventional assumption that only a man should be capable of providing for a family. This may be due to the fact that masculinity is correlated with features such as strength, control, and dominance. For example, recent Polish research has shown that people over 60 claim that childcare is mainly a female domain. Therefore, switching gender roles can feel unnatural to the older generation. All right, this is what I was afraid of. When I saw the on the one hand, this is what I was worried about. This is off topic, Ewelina. They didn't ask you to discuss both sides of the argument. That's not what the question is. And that's why I said it repeatedly here. What are the reasons for this? So that's what this first paragraph should be about. You need to be talking here about the societal shifts that have made it so that women are working and men are like, you know what? I don't need to work if you're working. I'm going to stay home and take care of our children. So that's what you need to be talking about, what the reasons are behind that. And then, of course, support it. So that's what you did here. On the other hand, there is ample evidence that this new development is hugely beneficial. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, if a man is more engaged in family life, it will improve his relationship with his partner. Numerous Norwegian surveys show that women highly appreciate husbands who are completely involved in childcare. Secondly, it can have a profound impact on gender equality in the workforce. For instance, another study in Norway showed that over the last few years, women's earnings have increased while more men decide to stay in home. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that this trend might bridge the gender gap. Okay, this was a great paragraph. I like this. This was absolutely on topic. This was off. And so that would, of course, affect your task achievement score. Okay. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that this is a righteous course for society. It is predicted that social expectations towards gender will be more flexible in the future. Okay, so Ewelina, you have a really nice essay here. But again, just to kind of recap what my concerns were that you spent too much time here. And what ended up suffering was this paragraph because you both didn't develop it enough and you also developed it incorrectly. So I want you to really be focused on the topic, on the question they ask you. Make sure you are 100% clear on what it is they're asking you. Okay, and that you're covering all parts of the task. If you look at the band descriptors, you'll see that covering all parts of the task is a requirement for you to get a 7 in task achievement. And so not doing that would definitely take you out of that category. Okay, so let's not see that happen because your writing is very good. So I wouldn't want to see that happen. Let's talk about the rainfall here. Okay, it's kind of long, but let's see what you did. The line graphs show the amount of rain in 3 different parts of the United Kingdom. Careful, I don't know what this word is. England, Scotland, and Wales throughout the year 2018. In England, rainfalls, okay, I would have preferred rainfall singular. Rainfall was at the lowest level in June at 70 and at the highest at 125 in July, September, and December. In the remaining months, rainfall has fluctuated between these figures. Okay, so you've talked about 1, 2, 3, 4. Fine. In Scotland, the fluctuation, I would have kept this again singular. The fluctuation of rainfall was more varied. From January to February, it plunged to the lowest point in the graph at 20. And then in the next month, it rocketed to 130. In the remaining months, rainfalls were decreasing and increasing within these numbers. Okay, I think you could have said a little more there, but that's fine. We'll talk about it in a minute. In Wales, from the beginning of the year, the rainfall, again, make it singular, steadily rose. Then from February to April, declined and hit the low point at 25. Then between April and July, it alternately boomed and crashed. I don't really love this vocabulary. It's not particularly task 1-ish. You could have said it peaked and plummeted, maybe would have been a better word. Here's peaked. Oops. So after rainfalls, okay, peaked in July at 130. Now look at this. You've got plural and then you've got singular. So careful. After rainfall, peaked in July at 130. It massively falls to something, 40 in August, and then stabilized at that level before it reached another small peak in November at 105. Okay, you've got a lot of information about Wales. Let me see what you've got here. So you've got it steadily rose, but we don't know from what. And then we have this figure. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 figures. Okay, so we've got 4 figures for Wales. We've got 2 figures for Scotland. And we've got essentially 4 figures for England. It's okay. It's okay. It's not, overall, England was the most rainy region of, okay, not most rainy, it's rainiest of Great Britain. Okay. I think I would have liked on average, England was the rainiest. Okay. On average, it would have been nice here. And so that's fine as an overview. Now I want to tell you what I think are the important parts of this graph, just so that you have an idea of what kind of information you should be covering here. The first one, first of all, that I would start with was England, because I would start by saying that it started the year with the highest rainfall. And I would say what that number is, okay? And then I would talk about the low in February. And then I would say that it had 2 peaks, one in March and one in October at whatever that number is. I think we said 130. And then it ended the year slightly lower than where it began. at just over 100 in December. So what have I really talked about? I've talked about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Okay? Because what you're looking at is you're looking at the story of rain. Okay? And so when we hear a story or when we tell a story, there are certain things we need to include. We need to include the beginning, we need to include the interesting parts in the middle, and then we need to, of course, include the end. And so that for me is what you should have focused on here. Of course, focusing on the fact that there was a great amount of fluctuation throughout the year. But yeah, like for example, for Scotland, I would have said something like the first 3 months of the year were rather tumultuous, started at this level, and it reached the lowest point of the year here. And then you could say in the next month, it reached one peak. Okay, it reached a peak at whatever number that is. The remaining, the next, maybe you could say, yeah, the next 6 months had some considerable fluctuation until October when it reached the second peak, also at 130, and then the year ended there. So that's how I would cover that, okay? Now, as for England, that's the second one I would talk about since it's the second highest. Again, my points are this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think you covered almost all of those. And then for Wales, I would cover, again, you can guess it, 5 points. 1, 2, 3, and then this is really interesting here because it's the only plateau we have. And then, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So that's it. Okay, I hope that's helpful. I hope that gives you some ideas about how you can approach this. All right, and yeah, you've got another essay with us. So let's take a look at that one. Okay, good luck.